All right, so before we start to think about writing our next academic paper, and perhaps you're thinking about doing that, perhaps you're thinking about going ahead and beginning the process of writing up your next paper, we've got 10 steps to help you, 10 things to think about as you begin the process of writing and publishing your next paper. So things to think about before you get going. 10 steps to success when writing and publishing an academic paper. Step number 1, and these can be done in any order, important things to think about. What is publishable? What's new in your field right now? What's the most appropriate journal and format? That's step number 2. We've asked you already to think about your target journal when you start that research process. Step number 3, is there a time factor involved? Do you need your paper published within a certain time? Are you under a particular time stress? Do you have to get your PhD? Do you have to get your master's? So that's also something very important to think about, and it influences your journal selection. Step number 4, once you've picked the target journal, what are the characteristics of that target journal? Have you read the aims and scope? Step number 5, are there any general or field-specific requirements for publication in your target journal? That's the first 5 steps of the 10 steps to success. Step number 1, what's publishable? Step number 2, what's your most appropriate journal? Step number 3, is there a time factor involved? Step number 4, what are the characteristics of your target journal? Step number 5, any general and field-specific requirements, things to think about. Step number 6, who should be an author? Who's contributed to the work, and which order should those authors be in? Step number 7, what are you going to put into that cover letter? Very important when talking to journal editors, when making submissions, what goes in the cover letter? Selling yourself to your target journal. Step number 8, any trends in academic publishing at the moment that might impact your submission. Open access, preprint servers. What is the trend in academic publishing that could influence your submission? Step number 9, what kind of peer review is your target journal using? Open, double blind, single blind. Well worth thinking about. It will influence your journal choice. Again, single blind, of course, where your reviewers know your identity, but you don't know theirs. Double blind, of course, where everybody doesn't know everybody else's identity, or completely open, everybody knows who everybody else is. And step number 10, of your authors, who's going to be the corresponding author? Who will interpret and respond to review comments? Those are our 10 things to think about before getting going with your submission. 10 steps to success. Step number 6, who should be an author? Step number 7, what about the cover letter? Step number 8, any trends in academic publishing? Step number 9, what kind of peer review? And step number 10, who's going to be the corresponding author? Who will interpret and respond to those review comments?